This season has really surprised me. It started off with a bang. I've been harvesting way more food than I even thought possible around this time. I wasn't expecting my harvest to start coming in until right about now, but the month of May has been awesome. I've harvested over 30 pounds of green beans, and I could have definitely kept going. The beans that I planted are versatile beans. They're called Painted Pony, and so they could be used for fresh eating as well as drying. And so I decided after a while, after I got up to like 30 pounds, I have 19 pints and 14 quart jars of green beans. I gave away so many purple green beans because I wasn't canning my purple green beans. I still have purple green beans, like 1 gallon size of purple green beans and 1 gallon size of green beans in my fridge. And so I want to get one last canner load of green beans. So I am going to be seeing if there's any smaller green beans left. I have left them a while, and so I don't know if there'll be any left. But I planted a second wave of green beans, and so I was trying to give myself a break to use the green beans that I planted early in the year to dry, and I can have some for dry beans, and then the second wave of beans that I planted, I can have a break and then start processing again. I definitely think I've grown enough green beans for my family for the year, and my tomatoes are kicking in. I haven't been out here in a couple days to pick any tomatoes, and so we're going to be picking all of the things that we see. I know we'll probably have blueberries. My daughter already picked strawberries, tomatoes, some peppers, green beans, and whatever else we see. I did, off camera, 2 days in a row, find tomato hornworms inside of my hoop house. One day I found like 20. The very next day I went out and found 17. And as I'm sitting here right before I started this video, I looked over and I saw that my tomatoes that I have planted along in these forever garden beds and these metal beds along the fence, I have like 3 that are completely bare. And when I came out here after I saw the hornworms inside of my hoop house, I came out here and I actually didn't even look at these tomatoes. I only looked at the tomatoes in the garden this way to see if I found any hornworms, which I didn't. I found hornworms and armyworms in the hoop house. Didn't find any out here, and so I thought they were good. And then, but I did not check these tomatoes, and I'm going to turn you around and show you what these tomatoes look like. I was just inspecting them off camera. I don't actually see a hornworm on them, but it could be hiding right now. It could be trying to make its way down to my tomato beds. But I've definitely kept a note inside of my phone of when I first spotted my tomato hornworm. So if you come out one day and your tomatoes are bare like this, you definitely have a tomato hornworm that has been munching on your tomatoes. So these are 2 different tomatoes, and I actually do not see a hornworm on them, but that's a telltale sign that there's a tomato hornworm somewhere. It's probably blending in somewhere over here. So I came in here because Nail wanted to see if she can see what one looks like, and it's right there. You see it, Nail? Right there. Do you see it?
Oh, that's big.
It is big. That's a big one. And so you can see I've come in here 2 days in a row, and then I missed a day or 2, and there's a big fat one right there. So when I've been finding the hornworms, I've been literally cutting them in half and running. Ah! And screaming. But you can see they were eating the tops of these tomato plants. And there's probably some more in here. It is. Oof. They're so big. You would think I hadn't been in here. This is another sign that you have tomato hornworms. They're poop, which is little balls.
So,
and then we have an armyworm back here. Yeah. Wow, there's a bunch. So while we're in the hoop house, I figured I might as well pick the ripe tomatoes, but my favorite one is this triple crop. It's my first off of the triple crop. This one split really bad, but we have one. This one split really bad, and you can tell it's a fresh split. But we have one right next to it that's so big. Let me show you. This one isn't even blushing yet, but if it was, I would take it. It's so pretty and big. I've not had good luck growing big tomatoes in the past, so. But this is a regular a polka. Y'all, I had to show y'all this.
That's everything.
These are the fattest tomatoes that I've grown so far. They're like pretty big. Especially these three. Usually they get eaten. But this is just a Japanese, what is it called? Roma style tomato. And it's really, I'm picking them even though they're not completely ripe because there's tomato hornworms in there, and I've already seen some damage where they've bitten some tomatoes. So I'll let them finish ripening inside the house. But this is all the tomatoes we've gotten from the hoop house, and then we're gonna head on to the garden and finish collecting tomatoes.
Yay, tomatoes!
These cherry tomatoes I've been just keeping in a bowl on my table, and the kids have just been eating them. But the bigger size tomatoes, I wait till they're ripened. Oh, there's a worm in there. That's so sad. I wait until they ripen, and then I put them in Ziploc bags to make sauce with later. I tried to keep all of my paste inside the hoop house, but if I ran out, I do have some paste out here as well. I've actually been waiting for tomato hornworms to attack these plants in my in-ground bed because they're so bushy and I haven't pruned them, and so it just seems like it's a breeding ground for tomato hornworms and for me to not be able to see them. Where in my raised beds where I'm pruning heavily, and so it's easier to spot tomato hornworms when there's not a lot of foliage going on. But so far I haven't seen any tomato hornworm damage on any of these tomatoes this way, but definitely looking forward to finding some. Okay, a lot of these tomatoes are on the other side of this trellis. I think I want to have a bucket just for my cherry tomatoes. Oop. Because they're so tiny. I know, that's why I sat it on the table. This plant has so many tomatoes on it. This is one that I grew 2 years ago and I liked it. I can never say the name, but I know that I want to grow it every year because it has a AZ. I'm familiar with what the spelling looks like. I just could never tell you.
The big ones?
That one's split, but it looks like it's a clean split. I'm so sad about this one. I was waiting for it to turn. I should have picked it, and then now it has a nasty spot. I'll pick it and give it to animals with the other one that has a worm in it. Come off. Okay, well, it actually doesn't want to come off. Okay, there, I got it. I was waiting for this, and I should have got it, but I was waiting for it to turn. But now I have to give this to the pigs with the other one that has a worm in it. Yucky. This is my first black beauty that's ready. I grew this last year, and I used it in sauce. It was bigger than this, but it was so pretty, and it's so pretty again. These are my determinate tomatoes, and I haven't pruned them because you're not really supposed to prune determinate tomatoes. And I've just been seeing which ones are remaining disease resistant, even though they're bushy. The ones at this Rutgers and going down like 4, I don't know what the rest of these are pretty much have disease, but the ones going down that way, and I'll bring you in closer to show you, are still remaining disease resistant. And I did, when I looked up tomatoes, try to pick some varieties that said it was disease resistance to blight, early blight and late blight, and I can see that it's definitely working because some of them are still remaining disease resistant, even though it's really packed in here, very close together. But I am taking notes on which varieties I would grow again next year. So we can get about right here, which is a Defiant tomato. You can see how it's bushy, but it's not diseased. We're going this way at the front where we were, have lots of disease. So I would definitely grow Defiant again. That's a perfect tomato. Ooh, they're so uniform in size. Oh, that one has a big hole. So these are all of the bigger tomatoes.
Down somewhere.
So this is like, I don't know, a third full, maybe close to halfway of cherry tomatoes that Allison picked. I didn't say hi. Allison's over here helping me pick tomatoes, helping me garden, but that looks beautiful. Yay! Like those gold ones down there, I think are ready. I don't know.
Yeah, there's like a golden one over there.
Yeah, that's ready.
Okay.
Because it's not green.
Yeah.
So this one's called, that is not a purple beauty. It's purple
That
beauty
is
and it's
not
yellow.
beauty.
If it's purple, it's not going to be yellow. So I've been leaving these peppers, even though they're labeled pimento, to turn. And I see the first sign of them turning. But legit to me, they just look like really big bell peppers. And I'm wondering if I mislabeled them or something like that. Because these are definitely don't look like the pimento on the pack of seeds that I have. But someone told me that pimento could look like a bell pepper. But we'll see. I'm going to leave them until they turn and we'll find out together. I definitely don't want to taste test it because if it is a spicy pepper, no bueno. The other week, last week, I blistered shishitos when we had company come over and they were delicious, so I'm happy to have them again. So this plant was like falling over and I leaned it this way and then I gave this pepper some sun scald because it was out in the sun. And I think yesterday it was like 98 degrees. But I've been waiting because it says it's a paprika. And so I've been like waiting for them to like turn a color. But they're still gold. All of these peppers are like so turned over. I don't know. Because my plan with this paprika was to make paprika powder, but I always thought that they were going to turn red. And it could have just been that I mislabeled them, because I've been known to do that. So, not exactly sure. I don't know. If you've grown paprika, do they look yellow and then they turn red? I should probably actually save seeds from this. I'm gonna hold this one and see and look that up again.
So, do you want this one picked?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm gonna leave that big one turning yellow.
Okay.
Did you use all your cucumbers?
We are working through them, and then I think we're gonna pickle a few. But we just had one that prickly one yesterday.
This prickly one?
Yeah. It's so cool when it's like sliced. It looks so cool.
Yeah, the kids were like,
Like it looks like an alien.
they were like, this cucumber's too spiky to eat.
It's too spiky.
So I wanted to show you guys everything that we picked today before I bring it inside. So we have our basket of cherry tomatoes and little grape tomatoes. And then we have a little bit of green beans because I still have a gallon of Ziploc bag of green beans and I wasn't sure if it was going to be enough to can. So I wanted to pick a little bit of extra green beans in case I needed a little bit extra. The rest I'm leaving on the plants to preserve and get bigger and safer seeds. I have 2 squash that I actually left out here the other day when I pulled all of my squash plants, so those aren't actually that I picked today. Then I have all of my bigger tomatoes, and some of these are some really big sizes. I can't wait. I've just been turning them upside down inside my house on my table and waiting for them to ripen. I'll show you that when we bring it inside, and then when they ripen I put them in Ziploc bags. I have my bucket of sweet peppers, a little container of spicy peppers, and then my whole container of cucumbers. That's probably about 20 pounds of cucumbers. I would say this is probably, I want to say 10 pounds of tomatoes. I'm not really sure. But I have been weighing everything, so we'll go inside and weigh all of this and see what we get. Any tomatoes that are like completely red, I'm gonna just wash them off like this and put them straight into the Ziploc bags. And I also just ordered an electric canner because I've been canning so much and I'm very forgetful, and so I thought it would just be really cool to have an electric canner, so I ordered one of those and I'm really looking forward to it. This pot actually filled up halfway of cherry tomatoes. Is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. I definitely don't think we're at this point right now where my kids are not going to be eating enough cherry tomatoes, so I'm going to actually have to start freezing some. And I actually freezed a lot of cherry tomatoes last year and made sauce out of it when I had those 4-gallon Ziploc bags of cherry tomatoes. So I know they'll be fine. And some of them are completely ripe and I can put them away right now. And some I pulled a little bit early, but it's still fine. They'll still be good. This is my first time actually growing Brad's Atomic Grape. I heard it's really good. Like, people have like mixed feelings about it, but it's my first time actually growing it. This one's one that's completely ready. So I want to taste this one to see if it's a tomato that I'll continue to grow. Okay, let's go ahead and get these inside. And I just emptied my freeze dryer, so I could start freeze drying. Like, I think I want to freeze dry those purple cayenne peppers because I want to freeze dry them and save them for making fire cider later in the winter time. And I have some other squash inside that I want to shred to start freeze drying those as well. The bell peppers I'll probably just slice up, and my kids like to eat raw bell peppers. But that's basically everything I plan on doing with this harvest. I've been making lots of fresh salad with cucumbers, and I could make more pickle chips. If you guys have any other recipes I could use for cucumbers, let me know down in the description box. So I just weighed this. This is 16 pounds of cucumbers that we picked. There were 21 pounds of tomatoes. And this is what I was talking about. I've been putting the tomatoes that are not fully ripe, I put them on the table upside down, and then that one's splitting. I'll just cut off the top of that one and then freeze it. That one is almost completely ripe, and I just every few days I just or every day really, I come, make sure that they're not, like that one's ready, and I just take the top off, throw them inside of the freezer bag. These are mostly the ones that I just picked today, so I haven't turned them around yet, but I'll go through and see if there's any that are ready to be taken off. These are all the cherry tomatoes we picked already, and I look through this every day too to see if there's any ones that are turning bad, and then we like put these in the pig bowl if we didn't catch them in time. This was 8 ounces of green beans, 8 ounces of spicy peppers, and I don't remember how many ounces or pounds of sweet peppers we had. But these small ones I've just been pickling. The shishitos I'll blister. These I'm gonna freeze dry, but I'm gonna wait until I have a whole lot to freeze dry of something else. Maybe when I shred the zucchinis or the squashes I actually meant that I just brought in. So we now have, I have about some zucchinis, and these are the 2 squashes that was already out there. I'll shred up these today and maybe start a freeze dry batch, and then I'll probably put those cayenne peppers, or I can actually even put them in the dehydrator if I wanted to. And yeah, just multiple options. I have a lot to settle, so I'm gonna end this video here. But thank you guys for hanging out with me as we've picked the most produce I've ever picked out of my garden in the 3 years I've been here. Definitely probably close to, I want to say definitely over 30 pounds of produce picked today. Bye guys.